Welcome to Adobe Illustrator, my favorite and most used Adobe design program that I have. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something really neat. We're going to be doing a complete 5-page tracing worksheet where we're going to be able to work through this entire worksheet and be able to produce all the icons and symbols and graphics you're seeing right here. I thought this would be a really neat, engaging way to learn because you can work with me in the class with the worksheet along with me, or kind of learn on your own. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our dashboard set up, and we are going to get all of our settings set up so we kind of have a similar workspace. So we're just going to open up a new document. This is the 2020 Adobe Illustrator version, so it might look a little different if you're using an older version, but don't worry if you're using an older version. I'll talk about what things you might not have or what things you may have available to you. So we're going to open up a standard web 8.5 by 11 document. Nothing too exciting, because we're just going to be setting up our workspace. So if you're used to Adobe Photoshop or Adobe InDesign or any other Adobe product, you're going to feel right at home because your toolbar is going to be right here on the left, your panel system is going to be on the right, and you have some additional options on the top. So everything is set up very similar, so it's going to be a lot easier to learn and get comfortable with this program in terms of the basic dashboard. So just like Photoshop, we're going to be able to go to a workspace and be able to reset that workspace to defaults so we can have some similar windows. And if you have a different version, there's some small minor tweaks, but it's going to be pretty close. So we're going to go up to Window, go over to Workspace, and one of my favorite ones to use or one that's really good for a graphic designer is the Layout option. So we're going to go ahead and click on Layout, and I already have that selected. So I'm going to go down and I'm just going to reset this workspace so it goes right back to the default settings, and I'm just gonna go ahead and move all my panels back to default. And some of these panels I'm going to use more than others. Of course, you can collapse this in and out and customize this just like Photoshop. So there's going to be certain panels that I'm going to use a lot more than others. Character and paragraph, of course, very important for a graphic designer because we're going to be working with typography and logo design. So typography is going to be very important. And there's some new options and other things that we're going to go over too, like open type eventually in the class. Character styles, these are great to have if you want to be able to save particular styles and call them out, and we can go over that a little bit later. There's certain things you may not need right away, links and asset export. If there's anything you feel like you're not going to be using, and this may be helpful for later projects, but for right now, we're just simplifying our workspace. So we're just going to get rid of the assets and the links. And if you want to move and consolidate this into one column, you can. Just depends on how you like to work. I kind of like to have one simple, instead of having this call out, I like to kind of have one simple column to work with. Even though the tabs are kind of close, I might need to kind of rearrange this. Working through, you do not have to have the same settings that I have. And the character styles and the paragraph panels we're not going to be using for the first hour and a half of the class. But if you ever need to recall a window, you can always go to Window and find any of the windows that you're going to need. But one of the most important ones is Stroke, Gradient, Artboards, Layers, Character and Paragraph, Align, and there should be a Properties panel. If you don't see that, you can go ahead and call that out. Properties is a great way to change any drop shadows or anything, any effects that you have on a layer. That's when the Properties panel is good. So right now it's kind of a random arrangement of windows, but you'll be able to slowly sort through these and figure out what is the priority for you. These are just windows that I tend to use a lot, but you may use other tools and other windows, and you'll find your own kind of workspace that you feel comfortable with. But just know you have full customability of this window. You can go back out and make the call out panel. So I have this, let's say I want to move swatches and have that be in the pull out panel. So I'm going to click and drag until you see this little blue line. We're going to go ahead and drag it in there. Now it's a simple call out, and you can build all these by icons and they'll just be little pull outs. So however you'd like to do it, you don't have to match me perfectly. So here's your toolbar over here. It's going to be all your basic tools. We're going to go over pretty much, I would say 80% of the tools are the ones that I use most frequently as a graphic designer doing graphic design work, such as layout, flyers, logo design, social media. We're going to be doing all that icon design, and we're going to go over the ones that I use most frequently in design. There's hundreds and thousands of different tools and options, and we're going to go over the ones that I think are the most important to completing those kind of design projects that you're looking to complete or go freelance in. So you have your options up here. We're going to go over each one of those as we work through the project. So that's all the time we're going to spend on the basic dashboard. We're going to learn Adobe Illustrator pretty quickly. In about an hour and a half, I hope that we work through this entire tracing worksheet together. I think it's a great, interesting new way to learn so that you can feel like you're tracing and moving along with me instead of just doing one project after one project on a blank canvas. You feel like there's some kind of order into learning the tools. So let me know what you think of this kind of new way I'm teaching.